Trey, bring us home here. You are selling hopium in places that it grows abundantly. Feels like this fan base has been sold a bill of goods one too many times. But hey, what's another trip around the barn?
Yeah. Listen, hyping up Nebraska preseason has not worked for other people, but it might work for us. So, Dylan Raiola had a fantastic spring game. I don't know if you guys have watched the highlights, but the true
They
freshman, I
anointed him.
know he had the dramatic recruitment story. I know there was a lot of just all kinds of craziness happening with his recruitment. He decommitted to like 7 different schools. He's been around the block in high school as well. I get it. And a lot of times those guys don't work out in college. But Nebraska, did they or did they not have a very good defense last year?
Better than expected, yes.
Better than expected. They were 11th in the country in total defense. And I know a lot of that is playing in the Big Ten West where they're not going up against the best offensive competition, but 11th in total defense is 11th in total defense. And Dylan Raiola carved up that 11th in total defense to the tune of my stats got messed up here. 16 to 22 for 2 touchdowns and over 200 yards. So he hasn't won the job yet. And if he does win the job, hat tip to Bleacher Report for this stat, he would just be the third 5-star true freshman quarterback to start a majority of his games as a true freshman. The only since 2019, the only other two to do that were Bo Nix and Caleb Williams. He has a uphill road to climb, but the talent is very evident. And Nebraska's just been missing a spark, guys. Like they've had talent, they've had good defense, or they've had exciting players on offense. They just really haven't put it together at the quarterback position in what it seems like a decade now. And
Hey, Jeff Sims got the heart pumping. He was a spark.
did you watch the
He wasn't
Colorado
a
game?
good spark, but he was
He
a
was a spark
spark.
for the other
He was
team going the other way more often than not.
He got an offense juiced and ready to go.
You and I have very different definitions of juiced, but I listen. It's been since Taylor Martinez was slinging it his freshman year that you've been really excited about a freshman quarterback or any quarterback at Nebraska, to be honest. And I think Nebraska has their guy. I don't know if they compete for anything major hardware this year. They're going to be spicy, boys. I think you combine Dylan Raiola with that defense, a ton of seniors on the depth chart in that defense. Their toughest non-conference game is Colorado at home. They have a very manageable conference draw. Their over-unders right now at 7-5. I'm taking that over right now for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I think they make a big, big jump this year. Maybe next year they're competing for a Big Ten title. I'm not going to go that far this year, but the schedule does do them a lot of favors. Illinois at Purdue, Rutgers before a bye week, at Indiana, at Ohio State. That's a tough one. UCLA at home, at USC, Wisconsin, at Iowa. It's not the hardest conference schedule in the Big Ten.
It's not a scary schedule. If you squint, you can have them at 7-0 going to Columbus, right? I mean, you really
said
can.
that same thing 3 years in a row now. I think one of the three of us has made that exact same comment that Mitch just did all 3 years of this podcast. If you squint, they're 6-0. They're 7-0. But again,
Not last
But
year.
this year, law of averages dictates it's going to be this year. They'll be 7-0 this year.
Oh, I mean, you're not afraid of anybody in the first 6-7 weeks. I mean, Rutgers is figuring out their quarterback situation. I mean, gosh, Athan Kaliakmanis is the quarterback there now. My Gavin Wimstad haters, you're telling me he's your king now? That Kaliakmanis is the promised one? Like, come on, fellas. So yeah, I think the pieces are in there. They've invested in athletes, right? They've got some juice on that team. Nebraska is going to be able to go fast when they want to go fast, and if that defense can play like they did last year, I'm with you. They overperformed our expectations last year, so you know what? I mean, why not Nebraska? Who says no?
Why not Nebraska?
For me, I was going to say my big reason to believe this could actually be true is something I think we need to key in on a little bit more. It's Matt Rhule in year 2
Yep.
We talk about it before, right? Matt Rhule tears it down to the studs, right? That's what he does in year one. He tears it down.
He didn't. He's already ahead of schedule.
That's what I was gonna say. Even then, like, they weren't that bad last year, right? In previous iterations of the Matt Rhule rebuild, it was, year one, you're gonna win one game, and your fans are gonna be pretty pissed off, and that's gonna be how that works. And then it turned out, hey, year one, we're not that bad, right? It's not quite where we want to be, but we might be a little ahead of schedule.
Three separate weeks in a row where they had a drive to make a bowl game, and they failed on all three.
It's just so painful.
Weeks.
Look, Nebraska fans are praying for you.
And they fixed that problem. Jeff Sims will not be the quarterback anymore.
To
your point, Garrett. To your point, Matt Rhule's history: Temple 2-10, 6-6, 10-4. Baylor 1-11, 7-6, 11-3. Nebraska, you went 5-7 year one. So,
like,
out of schedule, we skipped the 1
to say that they're 7-0, stomping their feet into Columbus. Like, it'll be a lot of fun. And if that's the case, game day is going to be there, because that's going to be the Nebraska storylines. Here they come into Columbus. Oh boy, here it is, right? And that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm personally rooting for that now. I didn't know that I was rooting for that, but I'm officially rooting for that to be the case. And I'm not going to pick them to beat Ohio State. Ohio State is, they're very, very good. They're about as complete a team as you can be. But after that, it's UCLA, who I don't think they're very good. They get that one at home. They go to USC. Okay, they might be pretty solid, but you're telling me that you're a one-loss Nebraska team with all that motivation. You get to come home, play Wisconsin before heading off to Iowa. Like, this could be a good year for the Cornhuskers. This could be a little, not just a resurgence, but hey, let's, stamp ourselves back on the map. Nebraska's back. That could be a fun year for them. And if Raiola is even, half or, 2/3 of what he's been billed to be, that's going to be a really good football team.
All right. You've sold us on Big Red. Can't wait to see how our expectations are inevitably way higher than the final result.
Baby.
Again, we've been here before. The hopium is plentiful out in the heartland.
I bet you didn't think Nebraska could lose to UTEP, but here we come, week one.
Hey, listen, Scotty Walden, man, he's got the boys buzzing out there.
Could be.
Out there in the desert.
Gracious him! How about